Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ran Levari, and in this video I'd like to introduce you to the 5-minute drum practice routine, which you can of course apply to any instrument or really any subject you'd like to practice. I will divide this video to 3 parts. In the first, I will explain the why of this routine, why actually bother with a 5-minute practice, the how, the rules or guidelines of this protocol, and the what to fill your 5 minutes with, what kind of content, what subjects to actually practice. And in that part, I will perform a 5-minute drum practice, and you can see what I do. And of course, you can custom tailor it to your needs. Why do the 5-minute practice routine? My immediate answer, and one that I like to keep in my head for when I actually need to use it, is also quite a silly one. Why not? It's only 5 minutes. It's one less excuse for you or for me to not practice. So I don't have the time for it, doesn't apply here. You have 5 minutes. You always have 5 minutes. If you don't have 5 minutes, scroll 5 minutes less on social media for that day and you'll find your 5 minutes. The next good reason for doing the 5-minute practice is that it's great in helping us instill a good habit into our system. We are, as human beings, creatures of habit. So for better or worse, whatever we do consistently becomes a habit. So if our habit is to find reasons why not to practice, over time we will become better and better at it. We will find great reasons why not to practice. So when I start coming up with these excuses, I remind myself the 5-minute drum practice, and I just sit down to do it. And that's another day that I made this habit stronger, that I instilled this habit into my system. One final reason to do the 5-minute practice routine is as a sort of an opener, an overture to your full practice routine. An overture in an opera is the first piece that takes the form of a medley of all the tunes that will be played in that show. So when the audience listens to any of these songs, their ears have already absorbed a bit of that information, and it's not a new thing for the brain to tackle. For me, when I'm about to sit down for a few hours and go over many, many subjects, I like to use the 5-minute drum practice as a sort of an introduction. I do a bit of everything so that when I actually practice it for longer than 5 minutes, I've already met that subject, and my mind and my body are already sort of like ready to dive into the deeper part of the pool with that particular topic. How to do the 5-minute drum practice? For myself, I have 3 rules that I follow. You can treat them as guidelines, custom fitted to your needs. But I always follow these 3 rules when I sit down for a 5-minute practice. The first one is preparation. Whatever I need for the 5-minute practice routine, I prepare in advance. So sticks, drum pad, my timer, water if I need it, a music book that I'm working on at that time. It needs to be ready. I don't want my 5 minutes to be spent getting stuff from somewhere. I want everything there. So preparation. Second rule is that you have to respect the time. If you have decided to devote 1 minute to a subject, when that minute is done, you have to move on. If you are not finished, it doesn't matter. If you are really enjoying yourself, you want to continue, it doesn't matter either. Keep this feeling, so if you really want to get back to whatever it is that you're doing, once the 5 minutes are over, you can. But when the timer shows that the minute has passed, you have to move on. Third and most important rule of the 5-minute practice routine is that when you're done with the 5 minutes, you have to move away from wherever it is that you practice. So for me, when I'm done with my 5 minutes, I get off my seat and I take a few steps. This is something I actually do even if there's no one in the room that I need to impress. I do it for myself. I get up and I walk away, at least 3 steps. For me, that's helpful in making this a complete thing. I sit down, I practice, I leave. It's a unit, it's a single thing. So I like that kind of idea. See if it works for you. Just try it. What to practice? My practice routine is built very much like my lessons that I teach. I have this order of subjects that I go through with my students, and I've done this for many years. Over the years, I've I changed it a bit, and I stray from it quite often. But it's an order that I feel is logical for what I want to achieve in the 5-minute practice, which is to bring my mind-body system into a flow mode that goes with this kind of practice of playing drums, of studying this craft, this art. This order of subjects, once again, it's mine. This is how I do it. Feel free to do whatever you like. The subjects in order are as follows. Minute number 1, I play music. No thought, no judgment. It doesn't have to be spectacular. I just play whatever comes to my mind. Minute number 2, rudiments. On the pad, the most basic stuff, single strokes, double strokes, triplets, paradiddles, good old rudiments. Minute number 3, reading. I take a piece of music and I read it. Sometimes I tackle new music that I haven't read before. Sometimes I just read an old favorite, just like I'd read a book once again or reread a poem or whatever, something that I really enjoy the act of reading it, even though I've done it many times. Minute number 4 is mobility. That's when I take the rudiments and I apply them to all 4 limbs, and I try to move on the kit and just get my entire body involved in this action. Minute number 5, the final one for me, is repertoire. Anything that I actually play in a real life situation. So whatever it is I'm working on, could be a new style of music that I'm interested in, could be a song that I'm trying to learn, a nice groove that I saw someone playing, or just some idea that I'm working on at that time that is applicable to actual musical situations. So now I'll actually sit down to perform a 5-minute practice, and you can see how I do it. Okay, so having prepared everything I need, I hit my timer and start playing. This first minute of just playing music is very important to me. I like to practice this moment of just sitting down and playing without any preparations. I'll probably do a complete different video just on this subject, but for now, just keep in mind that there's no need to go your fastest, hardest, or most complex. Just sit down and enjoy some relaxed playing, enjoy the sound, enjoy the touch of the drums, the sticks, just have fun. So first minute is over, time for the next subject, which is rudiments. Here also, like the first minute, I'm going at a medium tempo. This is a great time to check your posture, your breathing, whether or not your muscles are relaxed. I've always loved playing rudiments on a pad. This is something that connects most drummers on the planet, drum kit drummers. And even more than that, this is something that connects us to our predecessors. People have been doing the same boring list of exercises for generations. Next minute is devoted to reading. I chose one of my favorite texts of all time. This is Ted Reed's Syncopation, exercise 1, page 38. This is a very simple text, and I'm playing it in quite a straightforward sort of way. This book is actually very well known for having endless ways you can approach it and develop your reading and independence. But even playing it just as it is, and maybe I've added hi-hats on 2 and 4, is quite enjoyable to me. For my mobility minute, I chose one of the most simple exercises, which is also a lot of fun. Playing paradiddles with my hands, bass drum is playing quarter notes, hi-hat is playing the 2 and 4. That's it, basically. I just move my hands around and look for interesting patterns. For the last minute, which is devoted to repertoire, I chose to play some Afrobeats. I'm a very big fan of the late great Tony Allen, who used to play for Fela Kuti. Quite often I'll just imagine a song in my head, a bass line and a horn section, and just play to it. And of course, once the 5 minutes are over, you have to get off your seat and walk away. So that was the 5-minute drum practice. I hope that was clear. My advice is to try and do it every day. See if you can go for a week without missing a day. If that is easy for you, then try a month. See how that works. And I'll say one more thing, one very important thing about habits. They're difficult to build, especially the good ones. The bad ones are easy. If you try and fail and try again and fail again and try and fail, don't be too hard on yourself. That's how it goes. It took me a long time to build some of my favorite habits that I have today, sometimes a year or 2 years, but it's really immaterial. I'm working through that time. I'm doing good stuff, maybe failing, but I'm trying again. And in the end, I have a habit that's very easy for me to keep going because it's really now a part of my personality. So if to quote a good friend, there's no shame in falling, only in not getting up. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.